Sullivan tipped in
Sully with the drop in.
from way deep. That's a way to close out your round.
This is 4 birdies. This is his third shot.
Oh, there it is. Sullivan throwing it in.
Oh, what a smile. Incredible.
Well, that's one way to avoid a roll away.
18, Sullivan Tipton, throwing 4.
Say it ain't so. Come on. Run it in, Sully.
Sully Tippy doing amazing stuff from 18's fairway. And you can use coupon code DGPT for 25% off your order at oneshotenergy.com. Explore a wide range of energy.
Alright guys, as you can tell, we are going over forehand throw-ins and like approaches of that nature. This video is not going to be a very mechanical video showing you what I do with like my arms and stuff, because most of my stuff from my last forehand video is all about the mechanics, and I think all of those still apply to upshots and stuff like that. So if you want to learn the mechanics, go back, watch my last forehand video. That'll show you all the things about where your arm is for hyzers, annies, stuff like that. But today, we'll be going over forehand approaches, about how I get more throw-ins and what to think about if you're trying to throw it in. And yeah, that's the video. As you can tell, I already showed y'all 3 clips of some throw-ins that I've had at some tournaments, and why I get quite a bit of them out on tour. I think this year I've had about maybe 3 or 4 throw-ins this year throughout like 6 tournaments, so it's pretty solid, I guess. I would say like 30% of my throw-ins are not planned throw-ins. They're just approaches that I'm trying to get close and I try to give it a run, but they're not planned throw-ins. So don't think, oh, I just throw it in all the time because I want to. No, sometimes they're just approaches that just happen to go in. But 70% of them are, you know, trying to throw it in, give it a real shot. And I'm going to show you all how I do that a little bit today. I'm going to make it a pretty quick and simple video again. Anyways, I'm going to take my zones, and when I'm getting ready to do an approach to a green and I'm thinking about throwing it in, the first thing that I think about is, what does the green look like? Now obviously I'm going to pretend that we have some different greens up here, because it's going to vary if we're on a slope, right to left slope. It's going to vary if we're on a left to right slope. It's going to vary if there's downhill, uphill, all that. So I'm going to show y'all what to do with all the different greens. So obviously we're going to start up just saying it is completely flat. There's nothing around it, no OB. You kind of get to pick and decide what kind of upshot you want to do. You can literally go full hyzer in there. You can go any floated in there. You can go right at it. The thing is, when there is an open green, the only thing you gotta worry about is not going too far left or right of a basket of like that. And so if it's an open green, I'm probably just gonna go high, stall, flex with the ante, just because that gives me more room to work with. Like what I mean by that is, I can throw it up high and let it flex back. And I know if I miss long with it stalling up in the air, it's not gonna go too far. If I miss a little bit right, it's just gonna stall and fall like that. It's not gonna go too far. If I miss it left, you know, the highest stall is not gonna allow it to go too far past the basket, too far right, too far left. And it's just the easiest one to give yourself a putt even if you do miss. And now the open one is easiest. You just get to pick your poison of however you want to throw it. Now let's think of a right to left sloping hill. So let's say the hill by the basket is sloping like this way. I'm probably going to throw a high forehand into the green like this. The reason why that is, if the hill is going this way and I throw a forehand finishing this way, if I barely miss, it's going to go far past the basket. So I really don't want to throw the high forehand at a slope going left to right downhill. But since we're going right to left this way, I'm gonna throw the sky forehand to try to give it a shot. So let's just pretend we got this right to left hill right by the basket. I'm probably throwing it high, something like that to give it a shot. Almost made it there. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. I'll look at the green. Okay, I have a right to left, sloping hill like this. I'm gonna throw the disc on a hyzer to get it there to stick into the hill. Now, we have a slight slope coming this way, like a little right to left sloping hill. I'm probably gonna throw an Annie forehand that's gonna finish a little bit to the left. So when it hits the hill, it just kind of hits and falls by the basket. So let's pretend I got this right to left hill up there. I'm probably throwing something that's gonna finish a little bit more to the left that way. And I just hit chains on that one. So not too bad. So a little right to left, throwing it a little Annie like that. Now, if I got something, you know, sloping behind the basket, if I got a hill going down right after the basket, or let's just say there's even OB right behind the basket, my play is to miss short. Obviously, we don't go long, but if you're trying to give this a run, you know, I'm gonna try to go a little bit high, kind of like the first one, just a high flex, just letting it float right by the basket. Is usually my plan. Okay, that was a really terrible effort, but I didn't want to give it too much. Still looking at like a 20-foot putt, so you should make those still, even if you miss that bad. But anyways, there's OB right behind it. Honestly, if you're like, what is this, like 170 feet out? If you're 170 feet out and there's OB behind the basket, I'm probably not running it, but yeah, that's the play. So I think the biggest thing is look at the green, see what it's given you to decide what kind of shot to give it a chance into the bucket. I toss zones. These are actually pretty new, my logo. UV zones is what I throw. And in the videos that I showed at the very beginning, the first one was at Champions Cup last year. You know, we had a hill going up left to right, so okay, I threw a forehand, you know, a high forehand on Anhyzer, and it went in. The second one, I was at Worlds, and I actually had a left to right, and that's actually an example of a bad angle that I happened to just throw in. Because if I missed that one, you can go back, look at the second clip at the beginning, that if I missed that, it is going way down the hill. Like, that's a bad example of an angle of a shot that was not supposed to be. And then the third one that I showed was this year at Open at Austin at Sprinkle Valley. And that was one where, okay, I have to get it left. There's all OB except for the green. Just get it high enough, let it flex, aim basket high, and that one went in. So I always look at the green to determine what angle of a shot that I'm throwing. And yeah, so I hope those angles help you out just a little bit. I'm trying to think of some other things that I do. Yeah, I just at least give it a shot, you know, get it high enough, get it there. But again, I'll just throw these other two, you know, get it high enough at least. I think these are not stable, you know, at least give it a shot. But with the flex, I like the flex a good bit, just because, you know, like I said, if you miss left, right, short, long, it's not going too far. And you want to be a little comfortable giving it a shot, but still knowing you're going to make that putt. And so I think a lot of people get scared of, okay, if I try to throw this in, it's going to go way too far. Just throw it a little bit higher, a little bit more flex, just let it fall flat if you want to give it a shot and not worry about putting a little bit. But that's what I think about. A lot of these videos, you know, may not work for everyone. And I saw some comments like, yeah, like this forehand, that's easy for you. I mean, but what about us? And this is just the mind of my head. You know, people want to know like what I'm thinking about. That's what I think about. You know, if that works for you, you know, I hope it does, hope it can help. If it doesn't work for you, you know, maybe not try to throw it in from like 170 feet, because it's honestly like not highly likely that that's going to happen all the time. So just try to lay up under the basket with like a little hyzer or something like that. But that's just what's in my head. I look at the green, see what the slope, what angle do I need to hit it. But don't go too far, left, right, too far. I still want to make my putt. You know, I don't want to run it and leave myself with a bogey if that's for a birdie or something. So I want to stay close to the basket still. But that's what goes on in my head. I hope y'all like that a little bit. Not super instructive, but just more of like what's going on in my head, and hopefully that can help y'all out just a little bit. Yeah, short little video, but hope you guys like it.